Hi, welcome back to my channel and a very warm welcome to my floor. Why are you on the floor, Shaiyeh, you may ask? Let me show you something. Yep. Welcome back to another video where we once again tackle some old unfinished projects. At the end of this month I will be going on my annual trip with my sister-in-law to Fårfest i Kil, which is a Swedish sheep and wool festival. Last year I did some damage and came home with quite a bit of wool, like for instance this one and this one, and a bunch of other things that's in the cubby behind me. Lots of fun stuff. I've barely started on what I got and all my spindles are currently occupied. So I want to accomplish two things in this vlog. One, I want to get through all of my spinning whips that are currently on my spindles and bobbins. And two, I want to clear out some space in the cubby like you saw. It is so full that things are literally just escaping when I open it. I want to do some organising. I want to maybe even get a new project going and maybe even finished. I am eyeing my wheel over there. I have been talking about the wheel in a recent podcast that it's not really working with me at the moment, but maybe I can flirt a bit with it and we can get something on it. Maybe, we will see. So yeah, maybe we can get something spun on that as well. Yeah, I want to make some more room so I can come home with more stuff because we are going one extra day this year. So I'm not planning on coming home with zero wool, so to speak. By the way, this is not my entire wool stash. I also have a couple of plastic totes in the closet that are full with washed but otherwise unprocessed wool that I need to get through at some point, but that will be a future video probably. Anyway, I've been talking for a long time, so let me get straight into working on what's on my spindles and going through what's in here so we can do something about it. Yeah, I'll see you throughout the vlog. Alright, so let's first have a look through what's in here. This is a bag of fibre mill spill, Merino, that I got last year. I love the colours, will probably pair it with black. These are dyed locks I got from Stenkyrka Ullspinneri when we went to Gotland a few years ago. Unknown bag of undyed locks, forbidden noodles. 3 little bags of pink Angelina fibre. I'm excited about these. An art bat, also from last year's Fårfest. I think I will try to spin this in this video. Pencil roving, dyed by me. You can tell because it's purple. Also pencil roving, dyed by me. Egg vibes. Undyed Corriedale fibre, soon to be dyed hopefully. Dyed by me, Corriedale fibre. You can tell because it's purple. I mean, I have so much purple in my stash. What can I say? I love purple. We have recycled sari silk scraps, more unidentified forbidden noodles, a bag of Swedish finull, 2 bags of undyed pencil roving, and a bag of dark chocolate alpaca fibre. And if we scoot over to the side, we have more stuff. Merino and silk, merino and silk, merino and silk, and merino and silk. All of these are obviously the same project. Pastel unicorn fluff merino, looking very edible. Random leftover scraps on bobbins. Maybe I'll apply them someday. Scrappy rollout project that I lost steam on. And that's it for this part of the stash, so let me just sort out my cubby and then we'll start finishing some stuff up. So, the first project I want to finish up is the pastel fluff. This is a 100% merino spin of about 25 grams of fibre. I've already spun half of it before starting this video, but kinda lost momentum, so never ended up finishing it. I'm spinning this on my cute little Turkish spindle, which is really lightweight, so this was thankfully easy on my hands and a good warm up for this video. I separate the colours in this merino top. It's probably not how it was intended to be spun, but I found the colours got too muddy otherwise. This is my fibre and I do what I want. Second turtle. It's called a turtle because it's kind of shaped like a turtle with the 4 little legs, but anyway, I finished. I have the first one here, and I have been thinking all along that I wanted to do a 2-ply because I think that would be very fluffy and nice, but I'm starting to think maybe I want to chain ply this because colours, I think the colours will turn out better if I chain ply it. I'm not sure. I haven't chain plied anything in very long, so I don't know how that would turn out. But there is no better way of finding out than doing it. So we are chain plying this. After finishing plying the yarn, I just wind it onto my niddy noddy to make a skein. And that's the first project, all finished. On to the next. So, after torturing my hands by spinning with a spindle for 2 days and having to stand up to ply for hours the night before, I had 2 choices. Stop filming for a few days and rest, or try to convince my wheel to want to play nice for the vlog. And we all know resting is not an option. It should be, but I think we can all agree that's not how creativity works and probably something we should all try to work on. My second project will be the Corriedale fibre I recently dyed. I know I said finishing up old projects, but this one took so much space on the shelf and honestly, it was speaking to me. I was so excited to see how it would spin up, so I just went for this now instead of saving it for later. I'm planning a traditional 2-ply, so I'm just splitting the braid in half and doing some pre-drafting and further splitting of the fibre to facilitate the spinning process, and then I just went for it. You can tell the wheel has a slight wobble to it. This is part of the issue with white smoothie, which is not helped by changes in humidity and temperature. It always works better in the cold months though, so I guess I timed this vlog well. Better strike while the iron is hot, or cold, as it were. My singles are done and it's time to ply them. I do this by spinning them together in the opposite direction to how I spun them individually. Plying is such a relaxing process. It kind of just flows and is very mindless. And again, with the plying all done, I'm winding my work onto my niddy noddy for finishing. Project number 3 will be breaking into this magical fluff. This is an art bat with Merino, Zari silk, viscose and Angelina fibre. I was really excited to try this. The wheel was acting nice, I was feeling motivated and ready to try something new. So, I got started with spinning and it went okay. The colours are super fun, but trying to let the fibre do what it wants as per the instructions in the bag led to a lot of thick and thin and it got stuck in the hooks on the flyer a lot. But I mean, look at that, that's gorgeous. Very Valentine's vibes, very nice. But as we've learned by now, once the singles are done, we ply the yarn. And this is where we have a womp womp moment. The yarn got stuck even more than the singles did because it was just too thick to go through these tiny hooks. This is not gonna go through the hooks on my wheel, so I'm gonna switch to a spindle. That's gonna be easier. So yeah. And that is exactly what I did. It took a lot longer than I wanted, but it was so much smoother and a lot more enjoyable. And that's 80 grams of art yarn all done. We have one more project to do in this vlog, and now we are actually about to finish up an old project. This is a silk and merino blend braid that David got me back in winter of 2021-22. I don't remember what side of New Year's it was. but I started spinning right away, and then I've only sporadically been working on it since, but still somehow gotten 2/3 of the way done. Over the course of the years I've had it, my hands have gotten a lot worse. If you're new here, I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and my fingers bother me a lot, especially my thumbs that kind of like to slip out at the base. And this spindle is quite heavy, so I've simply just left this project in its bag. But let's finish it. I'm spinning thread thin singles, and I'm planning a traditional 3-ply, hoping to get about a fingering weight yarn in the end. Also, sorry about the angles, there are about 0 good angles for spindle spinning. Also, the pyjama mode throughout the video. The flat gets really cold, so you're looking at like 4 layers of clothes. Can we get spring now, please? You know what I said about my hands? Yeah, I ended up being unable to finish spinning the last single on the spindle. So I had a break, had a shower, stretched my achy hands, and went and got the wheel again to finish the spin. I wasn't about to give up on it again. And honestly, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. Applied it on the wheel as well, and this was such a smooth and quick spin once I swapped to the wheel. Again, I finished it and got it onto the niddy noddy for skeinin, and that's all 4 of my spinning projects for this vlog, all done. Okay, wow. This has been an intense couple of weeks. I haven't spun this much since probably when I had just gotten my wheel, but it's been really, really fun. So let's recap what we did and how I feel about it after finishing this project video. So when I started this vlog, I was fully expecting to only spin using spindles and maybe bring out the wheel for like a cheeky little mini spin, because the wheel and I are not really friends. But the exact opposite thing happened. So I've mainly been spinning on my wheel, and yeah, it's been good. But what did we make? We made this pastel unicorn fluff yarn, which is a 3-ply. I chain plied it. This I spun entirely on the spindle, and yeah, this is what the fluff looked like. This is the only one I have a picture of the fluff of, I think. But yeah, I love this. It turned out really cute. And I spun this on my 3D printed Turkish spindle. And yeah, we actually had a bit of a mishap with this. At some point during the spin, I dropped this spindle. I dropped this on the floor, and now the pin is stuck. and I can't get it out. David can't get it out. It's firmly stuck in here. I don't know, we might try snapping it off as a last ditch effort to fix it. I have an extra pin, but yeah, you're supposed to be able to remove this to then take these two apart to take out of your yarn balls that you make when you wind the yarn up on these. You wind the yarn up on this in a specific way to make it really nice little centre ball. But yeah, this is currently out of commission, which is making me really sad, but that happened. But yeah, other than that, I'm really happy with this. It is 25 grams of yarn and very cute. Like I said, I chain plied it to keep the colour separation, and I think it worked out really nicely. My second yarn I made is this purple, and I dyed this. This is 100% Corriedale, 100 grams of yarn. I dyed it with pink, purple, and red-ish pink, purple, and black, and I am really happy with it. I spun this on the wheel, and this is a 2-ply. I spun it on the wheel because fun. And yeah, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know that my wheel and we don't always see eye to eye, and it took maybe an hour of me struggling a lot with getting into spinning on the wheel, but then we had pretty smooth sailing from there on out, and I'm really happy. I think this turned out really nice. It is fairly consistent. It is a little bit thick and thin, but it's okay. I like it. The third skein is this skein. I've never spun an art bat before. It was an interesting experience. I prefer spinning controlled, like consistent, fairly fine yarns, and this was none of those things. I followed the little instruction that was in the bag for the fibre, and it said to just let the fibre do what it wants, and so I did. And so it is very thick and thin, and yeah, the wheel didn't like that because the hooks on the flyer, they are quite narrow, they are quite like small, so the thicker parts of this yarn didn't fit through, and it was proper struggle to actually spin this on the wheel. But the more I look at it, the more I like it, but I don't know, it's fine. It's fine. And lastly, we have this big chunk hank of yarn, and this is Merino and silk. Davey got me this fibre, and I spun it really fine. And this is a 3-ply yarn, so this is spun with 3 very fine singles, and 2 of my singles were done when I started this vlog, and I only had to finish my last single. I used this crystal spindle to spin it on, and this is a beautiful spindle. I love it, but it's very heavy, and my hands have definitely gotten worse since I started this spin, so I struggle a lot with just holding the spindle and like drafting, and yeah, it hurts too much. And I have these thumb supports, and it was still too much for my hands, so I ended up swapping methods and finishing my last single on the spinning wheel, and then I applied it on the spinning wheel, and I'm really glad I did because it turned out really good, and I'm really pleased with this one, and I'm very glad I'm finally done. And as was my plan all along, I have now successfully freed up a bunch of space in my spinning cubby. I moved all of my undyed fibre to my raw undyed fibre stash. There's no reason to have that separated into 2 places, so I've moved all of that in there, and I only have like spinning ready stuff in this cubby behind me now. And yeah, I've used up 325 grams of yarn, about No, of fibre. So yeah, that does take up some space. So now I have space to put more things in there in this year's Forest. So mission accomplished. But I won't keep you any longer. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. But first, which one was your favourite skein of these? And if you are a spinner, do you prefer spinning on a wheel or on a spindle? Let me know in the comments, I'm very curious to know. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and for being here. If you're new to my channel and would like to stick around, hit the subscription button down below and like the video if you liked it. I post all kinds of crafting videos, mostly crochet and knitting, and I also host a knit and crochet podcast on here, so I would love to have you stick around in our little family here on this channel. But yeah, links to all of my socials and Ko-fi and all of that jazz is as always in the description box as well. And yeah, I think I'll go maybe start a new project with some of my new shiny yarn. Have a great time until I see you again. Stay safe, make stuff you love, and yeah, I will see you again very soon. Bye!